do you feel like you have now gotten to a place where it's like, I know how to operate in this space, and if I ever were
Yeah.
to, I could get away. I could get
Well,
away
I
with
feel like I have so
something.
many people watching me now, and like the more I say it, the like less it's going to be true. But the thing that I think about all the time, like I'm gonna commit a crime, is like I'm constantly aware of like my phone tracking me or the surveillance video that I'm on, and that is like what I spend a lot of brain power thinking about. It's like how would I just like get away from that? I don't know what I would do once I was away from it, but if I could like go dark for a little bit, how would I go dark?
How would you get away from it?
Yeah.
Who are some of the I want to say, I mean, it's this is a very weird question to ask, but out of all the crimes that you have been able to kind of like track and follow and
Mhm.
kind of just like get to the bottom of, like who has intrigued you the most, like as a criminal,
As a
which particular
criminal.
crime, like is there a crime that is a little more like forward for you? Like, I can't believe, like, this one crime had me captivated. I was so captured by what not only they did, but how they got away and for how long. Like, is there one that had you wrapped up or that still sits at the front of your brain?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot that sit at the front of my brain, but those are a lot of the unsolved ones because I like those are the ones with the most questions. As far as maybe a criminal who's been at the front of my brain for the longest, Israel Keys pops up a lot. Do you know who that is?
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Who's
He
that?
doesn't get talked about the way Ted Bundy and Gacy do. He was operating out of Alaska and kind of Washington, but this guy would travel the country. He would go to a place, bury what he would call a cache or a kill bucket
Oh
full
shit.
of money, of tools, of guns, whatever, and he would come back months, years later, unbury his bucket, use it to kill someone, a complete stranger, and then move the bucket and bury it somewhere else. And this guy operated in all 50 states, maybe other countries, and he got caught because he got sloppy, but like
When
it's
you
still
say bury a bucket, what does
like
that
a Home
mean?
Depot bucket. Yeah, so this guy was traveling around the country burying his buckets and just picking people at random. And so there's to this day, no one knows how many victims he actually had. And the thing that he did is his victims went missing. Like their bodies were never really found, with the exception of one victim. So like this dude was, and to me that's the scariest because he had been operating for years with no one knowing and just all these missing people who, if you look at them individually, were never even connected.
You're just
And
looking at a person that just
that's
had like
terrifying.
a crazy fucking hobby. Like, I mean, I think for me, the thing that's scariest about getting deep into the woods of
Mhm.
something like that is just really discovering how sick people can be. Like,
Yeah.
like that's the part that I don't have the stomach for. I don't have the
It's
stomach for
dark.
the like, yes, I can't
I
I
think
can't continue down the road.
I think the darkest part is the longer I've been in this and the more we've done, because some of the cases we've covered, we've done like year-long investigations. And when you do those, you really get insight into people's lives behind closed doors. And it's how many people have dark things happening, even if they weren't the person that committed the crime. You start picking apart people's lives and you just see a lot of stuff when you do that and how many people could actually be capable of something awful.
Ugh.
The world's a dark place. Yeah.
That's chills. Chilling. Chilling
Full
that
body
is. Like
chills.
even you saying it slow like that, it's just a dark place. Like that's very scary for me. Here's what I'll ask you. Like now, because of your success, do you have any connection like with the legal side of the world? Like, do they lean on you at times? Have you found yourself being an aide or acting as an aide to detectives, to cops to some degree?
More on the publicity side. So they utilize us the way they utilize traditional news and other media. So we get them reaching out to us a lot to publicize cases where they need attention. They're looking for tips. And then we get families who lean on us to do some of the investigative stuff when a case has gone cold or when they're not getting help from the law enforcement agencies that are responsible for their case.
This is insane. It's actually like extremely insane. And you as a person, like when you're saying like I would have been a great detective. Like, well now like you're actually doing detective work. Like
I
let's
know.
like so as you say, I would have been a great detective. Like you're actually doing
We
the
get to do it.
job of a detective. Yes.
We get to dive in, especially when we get cooperation or access, when we actually get to go through the case file. And it's my favorite thing to go in. And, we have the benefit of hindsight, but to look at a case over 30 years on paper and be able to find the new clues and run down the new leads and find the new suspects it's literally my dream job. I would love, some subpoena power. I'd love to be able to test my own evidence, but that's what's like out of the wheelhouse for me.
What's the deepest that you've been able to go?
We did a series called Deck Investigates, where we looked at the murder of Darlene Hulse back in the 80s here where I live in Indiana. And we were able to identify multiple suspects who were never on police's radar. We went and actually tracked them down. We tried to speak to them. We looked into their past. We talked to experts and actually identified places where new evidence could be tested in her case. And the frustrating part is you can do all of that, and then you just hope that the people who actually have the authority to actually do the testing or go do an official interview or make an arrest will follow up. But what we see often sometimes is that instead of saying like, oh, thank God we didn't have the time to work it, someone did, and now we have a place to start, we get a lot of resistance and it's a lot of ego. Like people are frustrated that we made progress. And so they don't want to further upon our progress. So instead they just do nothing, which is
Wow.
devastating for the families on the other end of that.
Wow. It's crazy that you're in it that deep. A lot of stuff, like you keep saying Indiana. Do you find that a lot of shit has happened in Indiana? Like, is it?
I think
Indiana,
I think if you go anywhere, a lot of shit's happened everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think what it is these small towns tend to have the ones that go unsolved for a long time because their departments don't often have the resources, the know-how, the experience in dealing with some of, the really dark crimes, like the serial killer, the roaming psychopath, the twisted husband. Like they don't see it as much as big cities do. And so small towns, rural areas, Indiana's full of rural areas. I think that's where you're going to see it the most. I don't know if do you remember, we met one time. Do you remember what you said to me?
I remember, yes.
Yeah, you were like,
yes.
well, we'll meet. And he said, where are you? New York, LA? I said, Indiana. He said, we'll Zoom.
Yeah, yes,
you're like, I'm not fucking
Zoom.
coming to Indiana.
We'll Zoom. I want to meet you. I want to know more about you. Where are you at? New York, LA, Indiana. Okay.
We'll Zoom.
We'll Zoom it. We'll have a good conversation. It'll still be great.